Welcome anybody coming to Never a Foul. If you haven't subscribed, obviously subscribe. But if you already have, which I can see in the comments, all the familiar names, big up you to joining in. We got two amazing guests today. One, obviously, you already know. Today's MCFC Daps, which I'll be introducing in 2 seconds. Because before I do that, make sure you're liking the video because we got a serious, knowledgeable guy in the background. I'm going to introduce him in a minute. But first, I'm going to introduce my fellow host, MCFC Daps. Why are you laughing?
The way that came across, and it was going to be what I was going to say anyway. But
yeah.
You said we've got a seriously knowledgeable guy in the background. But first, let me introduce Daps. Hi guys, welcome to my channel.
Yeah.
So you are right. Though. You are right.
But we got Daps has brought in somebody that watches all the Premier League, and we're talking down to the Burnley v Norwiches. We're talking down to the back in the day, probably the Stoke Cities on a Tuesday night on a FA Cup night. But he also knows a lot about Italy as well. Actually, to be fair, I probably think he's got more knowledge about the top 5 leagues, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And
listen, it's somebody that back when the channel wasn't popping, I met and I kicked. In fact, I saw him on another channel, Football Terrace first, and thought, oh, I like this guy's setup. Right, I really like this guy's setup. Then listened to him, thought, oh, he knows his stuff. Then I was on a show with him, and we kicked it off. And then I thought, right, and we started speaking straight afterwards. And I was saying, and kind of said, look, and it was almost like I didn't feel proud enough to get him on the channel yet because I want kind of. The channel wasn't in the best of place at the time, so it was like, do you know what? I need to save him because I want him to come on. I want him to be part of the team, be really involved, and I want him to be proud to be on the channel as well. And it's kind of like it's now the time where I feel proud enough to let him in and let him give all of his knowledge. And it's also very important as well to me that. And you know what? I don't actually. I know originally where he's from. I don't know where he's currently based. But I also think it's very important because that's something that I want this channel to buy into. We've had conversations before where people have been a certain way towards people from other countries about their opinions on football. And it's something I'm totally against. And I want to like everyone to understand that people from all over the globe and often are more knowledgeable than we are on our own leagues because they really buy into our league because they love our league and we should be proud of that. So I'll let you because you came up with a great tagline.
The tagalongs?
No, the tagline you said.
The ever so knowledgeable moment. So anyone say hello, get to know him. How you doing?
Guys, it's a pleasure to be here. I've been waiting for this invitation for the longest time. I've been watching you guys. You guys are amazing team together, along with the other guys. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm not that knowledgeable. You're building the hype up. You're putting a lot of pressure on my shoulder. But to be honest, just to touch up on what Daps said, man, just the first time I met the guy, it was an absolute pleasure. It was a great fun and a flowing conversation that I did not imagine that I would have with someone. The first time, it was just the first time I talked to the guy, and then Daps, it was just flowing conversation that we took over that show, if you remember.
Yeah, we did.
And we just kept talking and talking and talking.
It sounds what I'm good
at. It was absolutely amazing. My name is Momin Ali. I am Egyptian. I'm based in America, in Houston, Texas. I am an Inter fan in Italy since 1998. That tells you how old I am. And I've been a Premier League fan since 1994, since it was the only league to be viewed in Saudi Arabia, where I was brought up in the first 10 years of my life. And I grew up on all the Beckhams and all the Alan Shearers and all these people. But then again, the Premier League, and I fell in love with the Premier League since the first time it was shown in the Middle East, Jazeera Sport and beIN Sports. And basically, I'm not as knowledgeable as the guys wants to say, but I try to know as much about the Premier League. I try to watch every game because I played football as a youngster, and I still play football now as the highest amateur league that is available in America, probably. I played against pros now. Like I played just a couple of seasons ago, I was playing against Mohamed Kaloun, who played for Inter Milan, Monaco. And at the moment, I play against some ex-pros that just retired last year, like Arturo Alvarez. He's a Salvadorian international. He plays in our league. I coach football as well,
Mhm.
youngsters and over 30s and open divisions here. And I'm a football player, amateur now, but football is just life for me, to be honest. I can't live without it. Summer is pain because there's no
Yeah, tell
football
me
enough
about
for
it.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think your CV is good enough. What are you saying, Kas?
Yeah, I think that outshined mine by a good
Yeah.
my whole life basically.
Yeah.
So
Do you want to get through the comments real quick? Because there's quite a few.
yeah, of course, as
Do
we
the
usually
usual.
do.
Star the questions. I know Deals is in here, ready to go at me
So
about.
first,
Raheem.
obviously, big up Bailey, big up. That's the first time I've seen him in there. Coffee Jesus.
Yeah.
So big up you. So you already smashed the like. Big up that. So if anyone has a comment, make sure you smash that like for Moen. Make sure you smash that like for Daps, and more importantly for the channel. Leonard, big up you. Gonna keep going down. Get your questions in for Mo. By the way, he's a neutral fan, so don't get onto him. None of that stuff, or you get dipped out. Simple as that. Sidoff, big up Cass, obviously big up you. Dills, showing love as per usual. Nick Saunders, Man City fan. Ishmael, obviously rocking that new Malasia. You can see in his profile picture. Face City, Alex saying Dapsaroni. Leonard, yet again. Ravenite, that's a new one. I've never seen your face before. Welcome, welcome. Make sure you get your questions in and we'll be starring them. Zane Hanif says, Cass, from a Liverpool fan, I want to ask, is the Harry Maguire liking the Ronaldo post thing? Yeah, of course it's true. What, do you reckon someone went on his profile and said, yeah, let me just...
What's that? What happened?
Like by mistake. So basically earlier, I'm sure if you don't know this yet, or anyone that doesn't know, there was this whole thing about Ronaldo being upset with his money getting cut by 25% and Harry Maguire liked the post. And then all of a sudden, it was a mistake. So, you know what I mean? So it's just like, come on, man.
So Maguire made a mistake again?
Yep, again, another mistake. Shock.
Oh, shock.
Are you a big fan of Maguire, Mo?
Absolutely not. And I just have an opinion about Maguire, to be honest with you. It was just a wrong scouting from someone who didn't think enough before they're buying a guy that's coming from a team that was mostly under pressure at that time under Brendan Rodgers under Brendan in Leicester to go into Manchester for a team that wants to have the ball all the time. And they thought that this guy's gonna come on ball, but this guy he's good probably if his team is pressed, but this is Manchester United. They want to have the ball all the time. So you need someone who has a speed, who can defend one-on-one, who can defend in open spaces, and it doesn't look like Maguire can do any of that.
Well, I've got a question then. You must have seen the Lisandro Martinez links being coming in. Do you know much about him at all?
Yes, he's from Ajax. Has been there for about 4 years, since 2018, I guess. And he is a kind of a defender who is, that kind of player that can play as a defensive midfielder, a breaker, and also can play as a center back. The thing about it, and that's just a personal opinion, that some players like this, when you don't have the big body, the guy is a meter 79 centimeter, which is, I think that is I don't know that in inches.
About 5'9", 10.
Yes, about 5'9". In my opinion, he's a very good asset to have, but you can't have that as your starting center back in the Premier League. And just that's a personal opinion. You will need that physicality. And he's a very aggressive defender, but you need that physicality because coming against the big forwards in the Premier League, sometimes you will need that big guy. At Ajax, this guy, they always had the ball under Erik ten Hag. Can he do the same with Manchester United? Can they be the team that has 60 to 65% ball position? It will work out for him. But if they come under pressure a little bit and a big forward comes against the guy, can he really match the physicality that the Premier League forwards have? This is the $1 million question, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree as well, man. Spot on. You couldn't have said it any better. So just touching up a little bit on the Lisandro thing, then where is he more likely to end up? I'm seeing reports today that, and not so reliable ones, of saying he's looking at Ten Hag, Premier League, it's the perfect match. But then obviously Arteta's in for him, and he actually looks at him as a left back instead. So he would have competition with Tierney if he can stay fit.
Well, so that's Arsenal.
Yeah, the Arteta views him as a left back. I'm not joking. It was said last week, literally, that he views him as a left back.
He's a right-footed player.
No, I think he's left-footed.
Is he? From
I'm
what I
pretty
remember,
sure I'm pretty sure he's a left-footed player.
Okay.
Seen him ping some balls with that left foot. But yeah, man, I'm not really too fussed on the Alessandro thing. I feel like it's the news is just broken out by what's his name, Ducker, his name James Ducker, I think his name is. Yeah, he just broke out the news that Sterling has agreed personal terms with Chelsea. So, but we ain't seen anything about a fee. Let me just come to you quickly on that a little
Well,
bit.
you can put it up. I mean, Deals is saying I've been very vocal about this whole move since it's come out that I needed it to make sense to me. There's 3 people involved: City, Chelsea, Raheem.
It makes you Fabrizio's reported it as well.
Okay, so
I'm gonna put it up now.
Like I said, there's 3 people: Raheem, Chelsea, City. It makes sense to Chelsea. It makes sense to Manchester City. The amount of money we're going to be getting for him for a player that looks like maybe he's going to be starting less for us next season, and he's got a year left on his contract. He's not signing. Makes sense to us. To Raheem, I said, and I always said the hurdle would not be agreeing a fee with Manchester City. The hurdle would be agreeing a wage with Raheem Sterling, because Raheem Sterling is on 300 grand a week at the moment, and he's earning a lot, and he's getting a lot of silverware, and he's already going to be on the plane to the World Cup. So he doesn't need the move, from what I understand. I could be wrong.
Of course he doesn't. But maybe he just misses his, like London and his family and everything.
Hold on, Daps. Hold on. You think Raheem Sterling doesn't need the move in a World Cup year?
No.
He might not.
Bro, you honestly think Southgate would drop him? Honestly,
you don't think that he's going to be dropped? Let me get that straight.
I think he's been one of England's better performers over the last probably 4 years. I think the same as Pep trusts in him, Southgate trusts in him. I mean, people will say, "Oh, he started less for City," but if you go and look at his game time last year, he started pretty much the same number of games as he does every year, because he gets rotated. I think next season, if he stayed at City, he'd continue to start. I don't feel he needs the move to cement himself. I think he's one of the few players that he's done enough for England over the years and over the recent times as well that I don't think. Now, don't get me wrong. If obviously Foden, Grealish, Saka, a few others had sensational starts to the season, that could play but I think if the S hit the fan, I think Sterling would be someone that Southgate would always revert back to. Look, no one is cemented a place in any national team, but I think personally Sterling would not move for any less money than he's already on, right? And he's on 300 grand a week, because he knows that in a year's time, he goes for free and pockets 7 million in a transfer fee and would get whatever the hell he wants wages wise. So I feel that Chelsea have to give him a wage more than 300 grand a week for him to go. Now, if they do, I think Sterling would go. I think that's why he hasn't signed a contract at Manchester City, is because he wanted to see what other wages were out there. I mean, I will wait and see. I mean, yeah, it's just now 45 million. That sounds about right for a player with a year left on their contract. What are they paying him? That's what I want to know. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think he will move for less than 300 grand. 300k you're giving him. So 300k. And so that would be good. If you're getting him for the same as he's on, that would tell me that let me move over so people can see. There we go. That would tell me that Tuchel has told him the project. If he's going for the same money that he's already on, I
reckon he misses London.
I have another theory about this. I have another theory about this. A player that Pep doesn't have any friends, right? Sterling doesn't perform, he's not going to play. It's as simple as that. He didn't have friends with Grealish. He was integrating. You remember Mahrez when he was dropped for a while? Yeah. Pep doesn't have friends. Sterling doesn't play this year enough. Next year, he's looking for a contract. He doesn't get enough money. I think even if they offer him less than 300k for 4 or 5 years, for about 250, it's a guaranteed money for the next 5 years. But if he waits this year...
Fair point.
And if he waits this year, doesn't play enough, Who is going to pay a player that hasn't played for that season 300K for a 5-year? But nowadays, you can get 250K in your hand, guaranteed for 5 year in a top 6 team that is probably guaranteed Champions League every year for the next 5 years, like Chelsea. This is
That's
for
a fair
me,
point.
it's a better deal than waiting and then, oh my God,
Well,
this is this is Guardiola.
and I
And
guess the other
Pep, for
thing
me,
is,
doesn't have friends.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't. You're spot on with that. I think the other thing is that we don't know. He's on 300K at the moment. That doesn't mean that City are tabling, well, your next contract. They might have said, well, your next contract, because of the amount you're playing, is going to be less. So that's a fair point. However, the final bit to the jigsaw for me, someone said, I don't think City rates him 300K a week. I think you might be right with that. It was like the Aguero thing. Aguero left because City weren't willing to continue to pay him what he was being paid. So that is a fair point. And I do think with the changes that are going on at City, they probably thought, yeah, we're gonna pay you less, and that's why he's looking elsewhere. It's a fair point. If you can secure slightly less, but over 5 years, that's more money in the long term. Now, here's the final thing, and to get 300K a week sterling, I now feel that Chelsea now need to go out and get a striker, because if they don't get a striker, I'm wondering where the sterling numbers are coming from, because Sterling needs a striker to play off. And now that makes it very interesting. And this isn't me being bitter. This is now me saying, right, now I'm really interested to what Chelsea are up to. Because if they want him, they want Dembele, maybe they want Raphinha, who are they playing through the middle? Is it Broja? Are they going to go out and look for someone? Is it Ronaldo? Who is it? Because I do believe it's very interesting now, because Chelsea are going to be in the market for a striker.
Can touch up on Ronaldo, but I still don't think he goes to Chelsea. I just can't. I personally can't see it, and I don't see Man United letting him go to Chelsea just because he wants to throw his toys at the Prem because he got a pay cut. So, or if if it is the case, or whether it's the ambition thing, or whatever you want to call it,
or it's the club.
Yeah, or maybe it's the club just wanting to get rid of him.
Scapegoat.
Maybe potentially, but I can't see it. What about you, Mo? Can you see Ronaldo going to Chelsea? Do you even reckon
Yes.
Chelsea fans want him?
Yes. The reason why I see him going to Chelsea is that when you're a businessman and you invested 4 billion and 5 billion in a club, you want your money back. Ronaldo guarantees you first day lots of money back from sale shirts right away. Like in America, in Asia, right away you'll get all this money. And
Really good point.
this is a businessman, this guy, and it's when you put money in a business, you want some of this money back. You just don't want to get into the hole, and Ronaldo guarantees you money, in my opinion, in the first year or two. So if they do this deal and it makes sense financial wise to Chelsea, they'll do it. Even, by the way, if he doesn't get them the goals that he is supposed to get them, double the 15 to 20 goals, they might just do it from a financial point of view. Only if Manchester United are willing to lower because he has 1 year left, and Manchester United said, we want money. If you're gonna come for this guy, we want money. But who's gonna pay for a 37 years old 30 million? Are you gonna pay that if you manage a club? I doubt it. It's just
I
plus 500K a week. 500K a week. What is that madness?
Yeah, and that was one of the things with me saying, if they give, especially if they give Sterling 300 a week, it's like if Ronaldo then follows him, he ain't going to be dropping his wage to like near Sterling's. He's going to want to keep it up very high. I think that is a very, very good point. And listen, Chelsea fans, I know you're split on whether you want Ronaldo or not. I know Chelsea don't usually do those type of signings, but this is what I've been saying. This is a different owner now, and you're spot on. You know, when you first take over a company, the first thing you want to do is try and recoup some of that money. And you're spot on. Bringing Ronaldo in is a sensational way to recoup some of that money. I don't think Chelsea fans would be happy with that reasoning, but I get it.
Yeah, look, as Ty specifically says, Ronaldo and Sterling, that would be a complete change of attack for the Chelsea, and it's only club you can go. Oliver Kahn, obviously, if anyone knows about Oliver Kahn, goalkeeper for Bayern Munich, legend, obviously, in the game. Rule buying out early today, and you can see it right there from Fabrizio confirming what he said. He's not going there. You can appreciate the striker, but you can't appreciate the move. It just doesn't make sense at the end of the day, and it doesn't fit the philosophy of what Bayern's model the whole buying model is.
Yeah,
I just can't see Chelsea flinging out 500k, but I think Ronaldo might be. I think he might accept a pay cut as long as he can promise him Champions League, and I feel like he knows Chelsea are quite successful in getting business done, and they're quite successful typically. But you got to remember, this is not a Roman model anymore. This is a new model, a new age. But you can expect big signings to come in. You see, if I'm Ronaldo, you see Sterling coming. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I see Sterling coming. That's a bit of service right there. You see another player coming, Ligt. You're like, oh, okay, that's a big centre back. That's a big name. I don't know. I feel like maybe it is a good move for him, but I just can't see Man United giving him to another Premier League club. What about? I know you, Mo, said that you can see Chelsea going for him, but can you see them forking out the 500k wage, or does he have to take that pay cut regardless if he wants to move anywhere in the world?
The Ronaldo I know doesn't take pay cuts. The guy is not happy about a pay cut. Man, the guy is worried about his image and his business more than football, in my opinion. Lately, like, I don't think he takes a pay cut. But if someone at Chelsea, but hear me out, they offer him 2-3 years, which is madness because he's gonna be 40 by the end of the contract, making 400k or something. That's a lot of money for a 40 years old. And again, in my opinion, it's not going to come down to Ronaldo, by the way. It's going to come down to one club, which is Manchester. Are they willing to let him go? And how much do they want? Because he's under contract at Man United. Do they want him to go? Because as of now, I'm hearing the reports that they don't care if he goes or stays. They did that pay cut thing for every player. And they're like, deal with it. You're under contract. We're going to deal with you. But they don't care if he leaves or stays. The one who wants to leave is Ronaldo, based on the reports. The one who is linked to him reportedly at Chelsea. So, but the actual one that owns a player, Man United, and they didn't care. So it's up to Ronaldo and Chelsea to deal with Man United if they want this move to happen.
I like this comment as well. So Timo Werner, Sir Timo Werner, obviously he's one of
and
the.
You know what?
He's
one of the
fans.
original, and Timo Werner's one of our. I believe Timo. Correct me if
original
I'm wrong.
Fans. Yeah.
Are you one of our original followers, and you've just recently started watching again? Could you confirm that to me? Because I just want to know if the algorithms are really doing a good job like that. But I'm sure I remember you being a kind of fan of the channel very early days. So salute to you.
Also, before I get into this comment as well, I just want to say
this comment's brilliant as well. Yeah,
because I'm going to bring up. I'm going to bring up something.
Before,
yeah.
Spot on.
This is what I said. I said this yesterday in the stream as well. I've been saying it. I think it's all PR as well, and I just don't see him leaving. And that maybe it's a sentimental thing, but I just think it's just all PR for me. And before we do that, guys, there's about 60 of you in here, and it's going to continue to grow. The ratio is actually quite decent, but it could be better. It could be that little bit better. Smash a like for our guest Mo. You don't see him very often. Hopefully, we see him more often because he's giving you guys some amazing knowledge and as like obviously outlook to all the transfers and anything that goes on around it. But what I'm going to say is, we've got to remember Ronaldo, right? With the whole, let me get this so you can see me. Ronaldo recently had a child that passed away in it, so RIP to that. And I believe it was one of the twins. And I can only imagine if something happened with one twin, something may have happened with another twin. And you have to put respect on that. And I'll hate to see if that is actually the case because it would just make the whole media thing. Fabrizio with comments right there. The other reports, so forth, other journalists, they would have to say sorry. I have to say that because if he has to come out and say, why do I have to explain my personal life to you guys? And now you're making this all a big scene. He's had it his whole life with other things and other, politics in other countries and stuff. It's just like, why? If this is the case, and if he comes and says, I'm totally committed to Man United, then.
But you know what? That's such a good point. I said this a while ago that I actually thought potentially before the season ended, when around the time when it happened with his, and rest in peace, his I can't remember if it was a boy or girl, but whichever it was, his child. I said at the time I could see him maybe looking for a move this summer because sometimes when you have bad things happen in your life, sometimes a change of environment is so important just to start afresh, because otherwise you can, and I know that if I'm having a bad day and I'm in control of myself and not feeling sorry for myself, I will take myself out of the environment I'm in. If I'm not, obviously I stay and I sulk. But if I'm in control of myself, I say, do you know what? I'm not going to be any happier unless I move and go into a different environment and then You see, so I did see that a while ago that it might be something where he thinks, do you know what? Now is a good time for me to leave Man United. Whether it be, I'll always say it. Sooner or later, that guy's going to America. I honestly believe it. I could see him ending up living in Los Angeles or something. It was. But someone did say about the case that has to be dealt with before he's allowed to go over there. But it does make sense. Would Chelsea be a far enough place? Would Chelsea be where he would choose to go to start again, though?
Oh, I'll leave that one to you, Mo. I'll leave that one to you.
I mean, you're still going to have the British media, aren't you, for starters? That's the one thing that you're.
Of course,
a lot of the times when people leave because of that, it is because they're just sick of the British media and hounding them. Mo, what's your thoughts?
Listen. Any publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter. I know that you are in the UK and you think that the British media is tough and they are hard on the players. Any publicity is good publicity. Someone like Ronaldo likes publicity. It grows his brand, and the guy has a brand. And he said it before in an interview. He said, "I'm really after football. I'm only worried about my business. I don't want to go into coaching. We'll see." But he is worried about his business, and that means publicity. And England is the best place to get publicity, to be honest. There is no better place than the Premier League for your name to be popping in every single feed in the world at the moment. It's not the Spanish league, it's not La Liga, it's not Bundesliga, it's not Serie A, it's not Liga. It doesn't matter. Look at how Messi's brand fell when he went to PSG versus Ronaldo's brand at Man United, and both of them are in the twilight of their career. And I disagree about the British media, because I believe it doesn't matter what they say. At the end, my name is getting in every feed, so it doesn't matter. They like that.
Fair point. Again. And do you know what? I would imagine, I was just trying to sell that he might end up going to America. I can only imagine that the American media can be just as damn bad as the English media as well, if not worse.
Yeah, but the football here is not as the problem is, it's just there's not a lot of coverage. There's not a lot of channels here. I want to throw out a name, guys, out there.
Yeah, go on.
There is a big striker for sale in the world that nobody's talking about, because he has a deal with because he has a deal with someone that doesn't have money. You know how it is? You have a deal with someone who doesn't have money to pay, and the club that owns you wants the money up front because they think that you're not going to exist in a year or two. Yeah. It's absolute madness. Do you guys see Lewandowski in the Premier League at all?
I think he goes. I don't know why Chelsea are not linked with him right now. If you're going to go for Ronaldo, what's the point? Go for Lewandowski. He's a bit younger. He's probably going to cost you a little bit more, don't get me wrong. But I reckon he would thrive at somewhere like Chelsea. He's got the complete role of what they need. Someone like Sterling, as Daps said, he would thrive a lot more off of that. And he's guaranteeing you goals at the end of the day. Lewandowski is the complete striker, and right now he offers more than Ronaldo in this stage of his career.
Yeah, they want 40 to 50 million euros for him, and I think he has 1 year left in his contract or something like this.
I think he's 35 million. I think 35 to 40 million is a fair price right now for someone legend in the game. Because if you've got to put it out there, you got to say, okay, how much is Benzema going to cost you with 1 year left on his contract? If he did,
probably more.
You know what I mean? It probably a little bit more, but not is. But you got to put some respect on Lewandowski's name. But if there's not many great number 9s out there I can think of for Chelsea to really secure, because half their fan base, from what I'm reading, when I see Lewis's channel, when I talk to Dills, I'm sure there's odds and Siddharth as well in the Discord. I'm not too sure if a lot of these people are comfortable with Kai Havertz up front. The best question is, they were saying, what does Kai Havertz actually offer? That's a question to any of you, by the way.
Physicality,
mute, by the way,
technicality, passing. The problem with him is he needs another striker next to him. I imagine Kai Havertz flourishing in a 2-striker system, to be honest. Imagine him playing false 9. The guy would flourish, but leaving the guy by himself to deal with the defenses in the Premier League, and a young guy like him is kind of throwing this guy is in the hole and letting him out. Like, just crawl by yourself, get out of this hole by yourself, and we are all waiting for you to do something. He is a forward, but he is not a number 9. And they want, because of Lukaku's failure last season at Chelsea, and we're going to come into that, of course, because I see a lot of questions about him moving to Inter. He needs another forward. Imagine Kai Havertz playing off someone like
Another striker?
Lewandowski.
Oh, I'm so glad you
Off a
said that,
striker.
because
This is the key. Off a striker. Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned this, because I was seeing
Spot
how
on.
I was gonna turn this. But guys, I big up Big Steve in the chat, by the way. Everyone say hello to him. He's just arrived. Harris says, yeah, I agree, Cass, no strikers available. The next Origi clutch striker. Okay, so this is I like to say this word, reservations. That's gonna be my little thing. So last season, I do remember Tuchel going with a 3-5-2, and there's I think you support Inter Milan, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so this man, his name is Romelu Lukaku, who thinks he's a basketball player. So with Tim's on. So long story short, Lukaku was up there. Not saying he's got the great link as good as a link-up play with as Lewandowski does, but they did play that 2-man strike, and it just didn't work. And now I want to know your thoughts and feelings on Lukaku coming back to Inter Milan. Do you rate the move? Are you happy with the move? Just talk to us about Lukaku in general.
Basically, it's all about the coach and utilizing your weapons. You know what I mean? It's just, to be honest, Antonio Conte, the guy, I'm going to give you a simple example. Bentancur and Kulusevski, these guys were not doing anything at Juventus, and then they go to the Premier League, who is supposedly a harder league, everybody says, and they ball. They have a second half of the season is great. So in my opinion, Lukaku is a good striker. He plays really well for Belgium. He played really well for Inter Milan under Antonio Conte. And then he goes to Chelsea. The guy is... Thomas Tuchel dealt with Lukaku as a station up top. He wanted him to be close to the 18. He wanted him to get the ball with the back to the goal and then try to turn. Well, Antonio Conte said, you know what, I'm going to get you 40, 50 yards away from goal, isolate you with a defender, and let you turn that defender and drive at people. And for me, this is the best way to use Lukaku, and I'm really happy that he's coming back to Inter. He's going to win us the Scudetto again this year. He's going to get us to the quarterfinal or the semifinal of the Champions League, if we can avoid Man City or Liverpool in the round of 16.
On conditions, then.
Yeah,
on conditions.
But on conditions. In my opinion, Romelu Lukaku is... it doesn't matter if he failed at Chelsea last year. He is still top forward, top striker. The guy averaged 25 goals at Inter over 2 seasons. That's a lot of goals in Serie A, to be honest. And people say Inter are a team that defends. Inter actually are a team that is a position-based team. Even under Antonio Conte, we had the second highest position in the league in the year that we won the Scudetto, I think. And in my opinion, Romelu Lukaku is a forward that needs someone that knows how to use him. And this was Antonio Conte. Hopefully Inzaghi can use the guy as good as Antonio Conte used him. Thomas Tuchel didn't know how to use him. It is 50 on him, 50 on Thomas Tuchel, but in my opinion, they could have used him better. But if he works at Inter, Chelsea will get money from the sale.
Of course, without doubt. You know what? I'm so glad you touched up on that little part. So that was actually one of the questions.
Sorry, really
some
quickly.
of the questions, by the way.
Sorry, really quickly. I've got to say this because the same thing that started happening yesterday. I'm going to name you Ban and Bougie, Tyrone Williams. I addressed you both yesterday where you started trying to play a little game and then accusing people of... so I'm going to be very blunt and say it. You started making well, not Ban and Bougie, but Tyrone Williams started making advances towards people in the panel. And then when they got timed out, said that why are we being homophobic? And I made it very clear, no one on this channel is homophobic, racist. We support people to live their lives how they choose to live their lives, and we respect it massively. However, when somebody says, like, and all the comments are saying, you know, we're starting to feel uncomfortable, me as a host or a panel member's feeling uncomfortable, and you continue to do it, I will block you and I will put you in timeout. Now, if one of your friends then says, oh, we're moving homophobic, no, we are not, and we never will do. We will never move homophobic, racist, or anything. But if I've explained that myself or anyone on this panel feels uncomfortable by the way you are speaking to us, and you continue to do it, that is disrespectful, and I will put you in timeout. Now, if you want to continue to accuse myself or anyone else on this channel of anything, by all means do so, because I feel very comfortable that we have explained ourselves and you're not listening to us, but I will not have people in the comments feeling uncomfortable. So let me be very clear, and I've told the mods they have every right, if they see this happening, to just put you in timeout and block you. And Bougie, for that reason, unfortunately, because you're trying to go with the same agenda as yesterday, you are also now going in timeout. Sorry, Cass, you can continue. Thank you.
Oh wow, boy, well said, well said. So yeah, so because that said, well, he was well spoken in that manner. Like the video. So yeah, I keep saying it, guys. The ratio is not. It's on 63. We're not coming off here until there's 100 likes. As simple as that. So it keeps going up. We're seeing 80 people come in and drop to 75. Like the video. It doesn't. Just go check. Quickly have a check. Come on. So yeah, I'm gonna go through. There's a couple questions, by the way, on for Mo. One from Bailey as well, saying, Mo, how are you feeling about the AC Inter rivalry coming back to its best now, competing for title? The two big dogs in Italy.
It just brings the league up again for people to watch. It brings money. However, this is something that you guys don't know about, but the league has just sold the rights in the MENA area, which is the Middle East and North Africa, for 75 million in 3 years, even though they had an offer. The Bein Sports used to pay 115 million for one season. They just sold it for 75 for 3 years. That's 25 every year. That's 1 million per club for every year in one of the biggest regions. There is a website called Sempre Inter, runs by a journalist, Nima Tavali. He wrote an article and made an interview with some big journalist about this, that had all the insights of this. This is how corrupt the Italian league is, and that's just money going down the drain. And this is why the Italian league is never gonna go back to its place that were in the 90s and the early 2000s, unless these people fix this league, TV league rights and all this stuff. And this is just one example of how this league is run. Until now, AC Milan and Inter are trying to build their stadium. They are struggling to get permits. This is how bad it is. At this moment, Inter still rent the San Siro from the city every time we want to play a game. That's how bad it is.
Well, that was like City when the Abu Dhabi guys took over. We were still renting it off of Manchester as well. To be fair, that's mad.
It's a shame. It's a shame
for
because
clubs that size. When we go back to probably before the Premier League, the Italian league was.
Oh yeah, it was outrageously good.
Yeah, and it's crazy how it's. But that shows corruptness, which does kind of bring us on to a really good point, which I know we wanted to talk on today. And for me, something that's probably holding up the whole transfer window a little bit. And that is a club called Barcelona that has no money, although they are, I think they've done a deal. Is it Spotify they did a deal with?
Yeah, they've done a Spotify deal, yeah. That's their sponsor for next season, which is, I find ridiculous. But
it's called Spotify Stadium now, by the way.
Okay.
What?
I mean,
what?
I mean, they're going to try to call it Spotify Stadium.
If that is true, they can't. That's hard, man. If Spotify do that and actually listen, if Spotify have any respect and actually any, I feel crazy to say any business understanding, because Spotify definitely have a good business understanding. But listen, that Camp Nou name needs to stay in there because that's marketable. Keep it in there somehow. I mean, look, they've got to do what they've got to do. It's better than probably going and just getting money from. Well, they can't do what Real Madrid do, and that's go and get money from the country. But the bit that frustrates me is how they seem to be holding up the whole Premier League with ultimately their situation. I watched a really good stream yesterday on Matisse's channel, and I recommend anyone goes and watches it. Really good conversation with Alex. I can't remember his second name, a Barcelona journalist, and it was so interesting. Yeah. It was so interesting to kind of start. Well, the Barcelona guy was kind of. I mean, it's not fact what he was saying, but it definitely makes a lot of sense on Raphinha. And a lot of the stuff that's going on. So he was saying that Barcelona really want to keep Dembele. Dembele is the guy they really want to keep. However, Dembele is on astronomical wages. So they need to bring Dembele's wages down. Dembele, at the moment, because they don't have a replacement, is in a powerful position. So they need to kind of make him think that maybe they've got a replacement for him. In comes in Raphinha. Raphinha agent is Deco. Deco is on the board. Sorry, not on the board. Deco is on the payroll at Barcelona for stuff that he does, I believe, in South America with South American footballers. He's also very good friends with Laporte. Wherever Raphinha goes and whatever wage he gets, Deco will get a cut of. So Laporte has a charity game, with a football game with a load of press, in which he tells the press that they're really interested in Raphinha. They then go and kind of, who coincidentally Chelsea are after at the moment. So then Chelsea now have to offer Raphinha more money. Right. Dembele thinks, oh shit, well, Raphinha's coming here. I haven't got as good a bargaining. And, I'm not saying this is right, but it does make a hell of a lot of sense how it moves. And then today you see that all sorts is coming out on Raphinha. Am I right? It's kind of stalling, and Barcelona is saying now that they want to pay in installments. Shock. Like we all know that was coming. That's
and Leeds don't want that apparently as well. Leeds want the money now. They've acquired 2 good signings as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out soon that Dembele has signed a contract on lesser money as well. And now Barcelona is slowly starting to step backwards from the Raphinha deal, and Raphinha will end up signing for Chelsea.
End up going for Chelsea.
Days, and Deco will get a nice pay off of the fact that it's more than initially was. And again, this is just all theory, but you know what? Sometimes theories do make a lot of sense. And yeah, it just kind of opened my eyes up on how Barcelona are moving. And then it makes you think, okay, so why is this De Jong deal taking so damn long, right? They're saying they want to sell him, but then they're saying they don't want to sell him. They want Bernardo Silva. Are they waiting, maybe?
I don't get that. I don't get that. I really don't get that. Where are you finding this €100 million? That's by the way, a totally made up figure. But for me, 100 million.
But you know what the problem is, guys? He's not even a replacement for De Jong. These are 2 different players. One of them is in Italian we call regista, which is a deep line playmaker, and the other one is a box-to-box midfielder or an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
Who's gonna replace De Jong? Is it Busquets, the 55 years old Busquets that can't move anymore?
Well, they got Kessie, didn't they?
Need to find a replacement.
They brought in Kessie, I feel like they view as a DM. But the thing is, what the funny thing is? They can't even register him or Christensen.
No, they've registered Christian. I think they registered Christian?
I don't think they have. I don't think they have.
Well, I know they've
signed him.
I presume when they say, right, so they still haven't.
And apparently they announced these players, but they actually haven't got the funds to register these players. And it's funny because it's like they're trying to play this hardball thing. Like Laporte, the president, came out and said De Jong is not for sale unless there's a financial situation. Come on, man. Everyone knows, even Barcelona. There's one Barcelona fan called Petra in our Discord chat, which I'll post in here. And he's saying, he's just basically agreed that he's just a compulsive liar. And it's like they're trying to squeeze every bit of money out of Manchester United, which I suppose most teams or most clubs would try to do. But they're doing it to an extent where they're trying to get Man United to pay off is what they owe to him. They owe money to PK. They owe money to other players. They owe money to De Jong that they haven't given. And they're trying to do this thing. I'm thinking, okay, Man United's played this waiting game very much so. And I'm so glad they have now, because you can finally see it for what Barcelona are. There's little snakes in the grass in that boardroom, and they're not going to get it, and they have to sell De Jong no matter what. And you know what? I feel like Man United will be as patient as they need to be, because they will say yes eventually, because otherwise they're not registering no players, no matter with this. Have you seen this TV rights thing that they have no rights to? They sold 10% of their TV rights for like €330 million or 15%.
Yeah.
For like 25 years that they don't actually own any rights to. So where is this money coming from? What's your take on all of this anyways, Mo?
I know this is the club that is in a mess. This is the club that they don't know where to go at this moment. Dembele, in a video that someone shot him in his car, and he said, "I'm staying at Barcelona," but then Barcelona hasn't announced anything that they're re-signing the player. I think he wants to stay, They don't know if they want him to stay because of the wage that Daps talk about. They want Raphinha because someone convinced these guys that Raphinha is a better player than Dembele, which is I disagree with completely. They want to sell De Jong, but they want extra money. They want a lot of money from Manchester United. They signed Cassia for free. Busquets shouldn't start next year. They
Yeah,
have
how old
these
is Busquets? How
youngsters.
old is Busquets now?
Probably like
He was born
30,
in
32, something.
89. He was born in
89.
89.
About 33 years old then?
He's a 33. I think it's 88 or 89, as far as I remember. I can check. It's easy to check.
Yeah. Either way, they
but
need to start thinking about a replacement, right?
yes, which was De Jong. Which was De
Yeah.
Jong, but now they want to sell De Jong. They signed Frank Kessie, who's a player that I admire a lot. I wanted to see him at Inter, but he wanted to go for the bigger money, the bigger wage in Barcelona, which is fine for me. The club is in a mess. Ansu Fati keep getting injured. They want a left winger. Now they have Dembele. They want to sign Raphinha. The club doesn't know where to go. Langley is supposed to leave to go to Spurs, right? I'm
Oh, on loan,
assuming. So
yeah,
they want
yeah.
another
Oh,
thing.
that's being held up as well now, probably.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
Umtiti is not on the books anymore or something that they want him to
What?
leave. He
Forced
want to
him out
leave.
as well.
Umtiti wants to leave. And this is a club that this is a quote that came from Oliver Kahn, if I remember correctly, said this club might not exist in 2 years.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
what their club apparently some sort of doctor or something came out and said something along the lines they would like the Barcelona won't exist in the next couple of years. That's how much debt they're in. Keenan, what's he saying? La Liga stated that due to FFP, they will not allow Barca to use the TV rights money to register the players. They can only use the money from player sales to register Kessie and Christensen. There you go. It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely madness.
Do you know the maddest thing is that if we go back to a year ago when Barcelona really started going into the mud, I was vocally saying it saddens me because from the first time I went to Barcelona, the city, I fell in love with the city, the whole Catalan vibe, how passionate they are about their football, and all. I loved it, and I thought, you know what, there's. I will never appreciate the history of certain teams in England, but I can appreciate the history of a club like Barcelona. So I felt it was sad, but unfortunately, because of the way that they are moving, it's like I no longer feel that way because it's like you no longer seem to feel that way either. So why, if you don't feel that way about your own club, then why should I feel that way? Because your owners are ultimately, stop spending damn money. Go back to, wasn't Xavi supposed to be coming in to go take it back to basics and bring all the academy players?
He's doing quite well. He's doing quite
He's
well
doing
for
all right,
what he's got at the moment, Like,
agreed. But when you're holding up the whole football world, it's like
I don't think it's Xavi though.
I'm not blaming Xavi. I'm blaming the owner. No, it's not Xavi.
Of course
Jesus, I'm not going at Xavi.
Do you know what the difference is, guys? Do you know what the difference is? I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you know what the difference is? When Ronaldo stock was going down a little bit, Real Madrid said, you know what? Let's get this 100 million, invest in Vinny Jr., invest in these new guys, and sell Ronaldo to Juventus. They held on to Messi for too long and Luis Suarez that they could not afford anybody else in 2 years' time, 1 year from Messi's movement. That's the problem. It's how the club has been run over the last 5 to 6 years. They should have sold Messi. They should have sold Suarez earlier. They should have sold other players. They should have gotten rid of Coutinho earlier. They couldn't.
Yeah.
They kept holding on to these players, assuming that we'll get money, but they didn't. They didn't. And now it's this financial crisis due to the money that you didn't get from your superstar. Real Madrid got money from the superstar, which was Ronaldo. 100 million was a lot of money for a 32 years old at that point. And they got 100 million from Juventus. This is what happened. And now we are in this hole with Barcelona, one of the biggest clubs in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
It's sad to see this happening because this club at one point was a club that you want to go to. Now they're signing players on a free transfers.
Yeah.
They're free transfers today. And players like De Jong, they might want to leave to go to Erik ten Hag, to a Manchester United club that does not play Champions League football. And who knows if they're gonna even play Champions League football next year. I'm sorry, I know that you're a Man United fan cast, but
Oh no,
at this
I trust
point,
me. I'm not
think
joking.
about
You can tell
3
me
years
anything you want.
ago. Would you ever trade Barcelona for Man United 3 years ago? Never, never. But look at this today. It's an absolute mess. That it's. I'm sorry for every Barcelona fan, but this is something that is. I've never imagined this would happen 5 years ago.
By the way, just to quickly before I have to round myself off, pause. I'm getting better. I have to leave. Daps, Mo. Obviously, Mo, it's great talking to you for the first time. Obviously, apologies for the backstage stuff. Anyways, just a little discretion note. But yeah, no, it was actually great to talk to you guys as always. Mo, I hope to see you soon again.
You will
also, guys in the comments, make sure you're liking that video. I'm seeing 79 likes. It's 21 away from the 100 mark. It doesn't take that long to do. I'm not joking, but make sure you're subscribed. Otherwise, you can't comment. So remember that. If you don't understand how to read, just subscribe because you can listen, subscribe. But yeah, man, big up you guys. Catch you
See
probably
you
later on.
Yeah, 11ish.
Right,
Yeah.
Nice one.
See you in a bit. I just wanted, so we're going to carry on for about 10 minutes, Mo. Something's just been shared. So Bayern are planning a meeting with Serge Gnabry and his agents to extend his contract. They don't want to lose Gnabry to Real Madrid or Man City. I think that's probably the fact that if Raheem Sterling is being announced or imminent, they're thinking City might make a move on Serge Gnabry, which I would be happy with. I'll be honest, if we would sell Sterling for 45 and get Gnabry for around 30, 35, I'd be over the moon. What's your thoughts on Gnabry really quickly, actually?
I love the guy. To be honest, a player that redeemed himself in Bayern Munich after West Brom and Arsenal. This proves that the guy can play really good football. The guy can play at the highest level. Champions League winner, plays for German international, a starter for the German national team. This guy is someone that will come in, will fit in right away, and he can replace Mahrez on the right. He can play on the left as well, and he can play false nine.
Yeah,
because you don't have one if Haaland needs a rest right now. And absolutely, it's something that is, it's gonna be. Imagine getting someone with this ability at 30, 35 million. That's a bargain now at this market, to be honest.
Yeah, it is 100% agree with you. The last one, I kind of wanted Kas here for it, but we didn't move on to it. But we need to speak on the rumours this week about, well, today, about DYBALA to Man United. Now, I don't know much about him. I know United were in for him a couple of years ago. He's been linked with City before. He's been linked with Chelsea, I think, before. What do you know on him? I mean, he's spoke of very highly, but I need to see more than that on a lot of players. So, what's your thoughts?
This is a guy that's Argentinian guy, as you know. He hasn't played for the Argentinian team because of the way he plays is exactly like Messi, and you can't have two Messis on the team. He is from Palermo. He played for Palermo, went to Juventus, and was absolutely phenomenal at Juventus. A little bit of an injury problem that happened, but when he is on the field, he's unplayable. Left foot between the lines. He's like, in my opinion, if he played at Man City, he would have been better than Bernardo Silva. And I know that you guys don't like to hear that, but he is a baller, this guy. The guy is great. So his contract ran out at Juventus. He did not renew. He had an agreement with Inter CEO Pepe Marotta, who got him at Juventus from Palermo. But then Inter signed Lukaku out of nowhere because Lukaku dealt with the thing with Chelsea by himself without an agent. So now Inter have 5 attackers. Even if they get rid of one, they have 4 forwards, and we only play with 2. So the CEO of Inter yesterday came out and said, DYBALA is a chance in the market, but we are full in the forward line, in the attacking line. He's a luxury player for Inter, but as of now, he is free to sign for anybody else because you haven't signed for him. And Man United scooped in and said, you know what? He's a Ten Hag kind of player between the lines. You know Tadic, Ajax? It's kind of similar, but to be honest, better technically, way better technically, in my opinion. Has a shot, set pieces, dribbling, passing, everything. because you didn't watch him.
Is he
Like this
physical
guy
enough?
would add, they add to any single club. The problem with them is that, let me talk about Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen. Where is
Yeah.
DYBALA playing? Is he playing on the
Spot on.
right side?
Yeah.
What about Jadon Sancho? He's going to play on the left side.
Yeah.
What about they want to sign they want to sign Anthony now? Is DYBALA coming to be benched? I doubt it. But however, you cannot compete with the Premier League wages. The guys demand at Inter, it's already agreed, 6 million euros plus bonuses. The problem his agent wants his agent wants money for the free transfer. Of
Right.
course, Man United will come in and say, hey, here is 8 million a year, here is 9 million, and he would take it. But the guy would want guarantees to play. But I get, technically, he is better than Christian Eriksen. However, Christian Eriksen has the experience of the Premier League, and that's something you cannot buy with the money, in my opinion. This is
Yeah.
just Christian Eriksen. DYBALA to Man United is something that is very good for the club because of one more thing. DYBALA has close to 50 million followers on Instagram, which is as much as Pogba. He has more followers than, I think, is close to followers than Man United themselves as a club on Instagram.
Wow.
So again, this day and age, that adds a lot to the value of a player.
Yeah, it does.
You know how it is,
That's
right?
interesting. Yeah. Especially if Ronaldo was to go, that is something they'd be looking to
Also,
recoup.
there is
And
not,
Pogba's gone as well. So yeah.
you know, United don't have any player, as far as I remember. Who do they have from South America on their roster? Only Fred
Cavani's
from
gone.
Brazil,
Cavani's gone. Yeah, because Cavani's gone.
and only
You know what?
Fred.
That's relevant as well. That is relevant as well.
They
You know,
need
all
that
those things-
market, South America,
Yeah.
Argentinian market.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. Things like that often don't get spoke to enough. I always call them the boring side of football, but they are relevant. That clubs will look at that and think, hold on a second, we need to tap into that market a bit more. And if clubs don't look at that, then they're missing a trick because they should be looking at that 100%. Okay, I mean, you've almost sold it. I know. A few City fans are saying, well, not just City fans, a few people are saying he's a luxury player. Is he physical enough? Would he be
Bernardo
physical?
wasn't. Daps. Bernardo wasn't. Right?
Yeah, true. And he's grown into it, to be fair. He has become
Yeah.
more physical. Yeah, that's a fair point. Interesting.
And he's
just trying to think
28. He's 28. He still has about 4 top years if you can keep him fit.
I don't see United. I don't see it. I think they've got. I think you're spot on with De Jong, Van der Beek, Eriksen. They've already got Sancho. It's all of a sudden Bruno. Of course, it's like who is stepping out to let DYBALA play. I mean, but at the same time, you know what? Ten Hag might have gone in there and he might have looked at a couple of players and said, "I don't fancy him." I mean. So we don't know. I think that Eriksen Bruno conversation, who's going to play where, is a very interesting one. For me personally, I'll be playing Eriksen a lot deeper because I don't think Bruno can control a game like Eriksen can. But listen, really, really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully going to have you on a lot more. But I'll leave that up to you. We can talk off air. But tell people where they can find you.
Hey, just we have a channel. If you're an Italian, if you want to watch any Italian football or know anything, we have a channel called Inter Worldwide. You can find me on Twitter. Daps can put the Twitter handle now on the screen if you want.
Give me a second.
Find me on Twitter.
There we go.
And I'm tagged on the Instagram for this guy, for Never Foul. But to be honest with you guys, it was an absolute pleasure to be here. I enjoyed this conversation every single minute. And it is something that I'm looking forward to come here all the time. I am just here to help these guys to build this channel back. It's a great channel. Look at the setup. Look at these guys. Look at how they talk. Even Daps is a Man City fan. He is one of the neutral Man City fans when it comes to subjective opinions. It's just
I tried to be.
It's not about this channel. From what I see, this channel is not about banter. It's not about mocking. It's just about subjective opinions. There's a little bit of banter will happen when the season starts, but I try always to give a fair opinion, neutral opinions. Of course, I have my heart sometimes set on clubs. Like I like Antonio Conte because he gave us the Scudetto after 10 years. So
Yeah.
I might have a little bit of a lean towards Spurs. I am not a Man City fan at all because I don't like Pep, even though I think he's the greatest manager that ever happened to football. And he's the one. We're going to have a show about this. I promise you, I'll talk to Daps about how Pep Guardiola changed the way people look at football. We're going to have a show about this. But it's great pleasure to be here, Daps. I enjoyed
Thank you,
every
bro.
minute.
Thank you.
Thank you and Kaz. An
Yeah,
absolute pleasure.
and we will speak later. Like I said, I want to get you not just on these type of shows. You just spoke about one there. We need to line up some because this is, and we need to get them cracking ASAP. To be fair, with some shows with real subjects, not just talking about potential transfer rumors because I don't like doing it that much. But listen, everyone, follow Mo on his Twitter and his Instagram. Next time you're on, I'm going to make sure I get all your stuff in the description as well. So I need you to send that over to me. 54 of you still in here. When you leave, please smash the like button. Myself and Cass will be back tonight at round about 11 o'clock for a call-in. Any of you are fans of Love Island, then myself, Matisse, Ransom Bants, and maybe Deluded Guna will be on Matisse's Twitch at 9 o'clock doing a watch-along for that. Otherwise, I will see you back on Never a Foul at 11 o'clock. That's been Mo, I've been Daps, and we are out, people.